So,
Yes.
can you define what a digital asset is again?
You're buying the piece of the company, correct? So essentially, a share of a company is a derivative. So basically, delta X. Okay, if X is the company, what you're buying is delta X. Okay, so delta X basically, the from between this time with this unit, lower unit to higher unit, you are actually making buying a small piece of the thing, and the slope actually gives the time by which it changes, the value changes. So that's where the whole math is done, right? So rate of change of something, and that's where you actually make the trade. Rate of change of, you don't make money on the stock, you make money on the rate of change of the stock, right? If the curve is steep, then you are delta X is you're going to make more money. So not steep when it is if your slope is much wider, then you're going to make good money. So provided you're plotting the dollar here, but if you're plotting dollar here, then the value is going to be if you buy at low and then sell quickly when time, within short time, if you could able to make big money, then basically in the delta, you're making a big money within the small delta. So essentially, rate of change of something, basically the derivative of a thing, is what you would see part of an asset. The whole is X itself, right? So in a normal sense, you take a house, put it into a vehicle, and sell it. You're just simply selling X. That's just simple representation of which already exists. You don't see you have a deed, a piece of deed. Yes.
Suresh, I have a question.
Sure.
When you say that, I mean, we will take the same example of the share or whatever we were discussing right now as a derivative of the change, right? So when you say that in the karma capsule, you are taking as say the derivatives or the changes, whatever it is, say for example the shares. So what we are trying to build as a product from the derivative perspective or the digital asset, what you mean? I really did not get hold of what is that exactly.
Because I have not, we are not building a product, it's a network. Karma Capsule Network is not a product, it's a network. So you can define it as a product as well. It's a platform, it's a network. All right, it's a kind of
a network of, like, that's what again,
it's a network.
I just feel like there is a gap in my understanding.
Yeah, right now you will get it clear as and when I present more. So it's a network. Okay. It's an internet. It's an internet of assets. That's the I'm trying to make it very simple for everybody to be aligning. So internet of assets. If you are combining the piece, if you are connecting all the internet, all the computers together, it is internet, right? When you're connecting all the assets, and make a network, new kind of network, that's going to be network of assets. That's what Karma Capsule.
Okay. Okay, so in that case, when we try to connect two different networks or something, like say, suppose if you're connecting a share with some other house prices or something, can I take in that manner? Like you're trying to interconnect these two, so that one is dependent on the other. The rate of change on one is dependent on the rate of change of the other, or something.
No.
That is what.
Now, yes. Now you are getting into the point. Yes. So those all would be the eventual benefit you will start seeing more and more. So when you start connecting one, then the rate of change of one would affect the rate of change of other. I'm glad that you could able to quickly get into that understanding. Yes. Imagine that's your answer. Rate of change of one affects the rate of change of the other. Then that means what? We will be able to give beautiful intelligence to the community, right? Okay, so right now, let's stop there and get into, otherwise we'll never proceed. So let's get into overall introduction of Karma Capsule Network. We saw what is an asset. We saw what is digital asset in the modern world, because most of you are introduced to cryptocurrency, right? But then the real understanding of what a digital asset is still missing in many people's mind, because cryptocurrency is just one form of a digital asset, but there are a lot of other forms of digital assets. And information, just a data, information about something itself could be a digital asset, right? So as I said, stick to the fundamentals of what is an asset, then you will win, right? Many people miss the fundamentals. Fundamentals is asset goes to asset column, liability column, which is balance sheet. Income, expense, that's profit and loss. So what you maintain, your income versus expense, right? That currency plays more, right? But asset versus liability, how much asset you own, how much you, basically your net worth is equal to the total asset column minus total liability column is your net worth, right? Same way every organization is going to have their own balance sheet that way. So asset belongs to that balance sheet. Asset has a value which should be keep going over a period of time. Then digital asset is a truly digital representation in parts or the whole of a real asset. So what is capsuling? Now, let's say we saw karma. Karma is action in the past, present, future. So capturing a action. Then we saw the network. What is network? And then we saw digital assets. What is capsuling? So capsuling is art and science of capturing the karma and basically action on something, and then creating an intelligence, basically adding a piece of evidence of intelligence and combine that together, so that the same action what happened in the past, you may be able to reproduce the action and then get the value of that state back then, right? So instead of, in general internet, in the normal sense, even the business network which runs on top of internet, now you create a mesh net, right? You create a business supply chain, which again, is a network. Any application you actually develop and run it on internet, right? You actually using internet, right? The ARPANET, which was a foundation for last 40 years, and you are creating applications on top of it, because you're taking the transport layer and the network layer by default, TCP/IP. That's all you are relying on. You are simply consuming it. But when that's why most of the monopolies right now, or why many people are not able to enter into business. The startups are also at the mercy of big businesses nowadays. The reason you might have, again, I bring back the tweet by Elon Musk saying that Amazon should be split. Why he said that? Because Amazon denied a book, publishing a book, okay? Amazon denied publishing a book because it has a different view than what people, should be looking for, right? Or say liberals should be looking for. In maybe 20 years ago, it could have not mattered much. Okay, if Amazon denies, what else? There are thousands of options out there, right? The normal, the printed publishers are there. You have many Amazon's kind of applications, right? But now it's not. There is a reason why he's tweeting that way, because it's just Amazon is monopoly. People think Amazon is in the business of books, or books or any other items. Unfortunately, they got too much deeper into it. They just control the network. because if you, even if your application, you created a supply chain application on top of the internet, you deny the traffic, you take the complete chunk of the traffic of the internet, right? And you are denying the space for any other business to get in. That's the unfortunate situation of the business network. So coming back to Karma Capsule Network, the idea is to create an alternate, go and create, touch the transport layer, right? So that even if people are going to kick you out of the internet occupied by the monopolies, the traditional public internet, this can create a alternate internet, okay, alternate network. For example, Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is a separate network. They don't rely on the traditional internet. You still may be, when you're communicating, you still may be using internet to transmit between these two, but it doesn't have to only rely on one network transport. Peer-to-peer, right? It can work across multiple technologies. So the intention is to continue to grow Karma Capsule Network away from, or in spite of, this monopoly game of traditional applications dominating the internet space. We continue to grow this for a community, right? People should be able to use get into putting their applications on top of Karma Capsule Network without having to worry about the monopoly game, people coming and killing their business. Again, it's not going to be easy. We are not getting into I'm not expecting Karma Capsule Network to be the de facto internet for values and trade in a few months or few years. It would be a game of at least 6 to 7 years. I'm okay with that. But we are going to grow slowly. We are going to make it available for individuals and companies to start growing, putting their applications into this, so they don't have to worry about. And this will be trustless or cannot be stolen by monopolies. So that's what Karma Capsule Network is. Okay. So yeah, Shishir wants to, you want to say something, Shishir? Shishir, are you there? Okay, let's move on. Now, let me go take you guys to the how Karma Capsule Network is organized, right? I want you guys to open the concept of taking the journey of Karma Capsule Network. You have to, in order to understand the, not just the Karma Capsule Network, remember this, the Karma Capsule Network type of applications, or the networks will continue to come, right? I'm only taking one perspective and creating it. Before this, the blockchain creators did things in a different way, and I'm only taking it to the next level, right? By focusing on certain aspect of it, by putting the scientific methods to combine three major technologies: the Internet of Things, the AI, and blockchain. But there will be more people. Even I'm going to be making the Karma Capsule Network open for people to start doing more things. I only will take a credit for the creation or invention of Karma Capsule Network, but I will not just simply, my intention is not to hold it. I will be the patent holder for this forever, but I will not hold the technology as a private. When this gets fully developed, this will be available for anyone to take it forward. So coming back to the question of whether this is a product, this will give rise to hundreds of products, which will be of superior quality, of new generation artificial intelligence products than what is available in the market, because of the underlying the protocols and the way it is organized. Okay. So the current world is the distributed network. You know, basically the current ecosystem, people are more relying on simply the edge data. So the data as a gold is a kind of misleading, because data is not gold. What data can the intelligence data can give you, that can be converted into gold. Basically what they're saying, why people are calling it as a gold, because they're coming to our language, basically asset, right? So they think data is an asset, right? Many of you might still think that data is an asset. Not necessarily. If you go back to the original definition of an asset, anything whose value keep improving, right, and keeps giving the value over and over again, and still no matter how much it gets transferred to one hand to the other hand, its value should not come down but only keep increasing. And it should not cost you to keep it. It should not cost you to keep it. That's an asset. For example, car. If car is not an asset, it's never going to be an asset, first of all, because its value keep depreciating. And second thing is, in order to keep the car running, you need to keep spending money on it, right? So it's an utility, all right? It is a necessary utility, but not an asset. So that's the definition of, even for the data, the definition should be applied that way. Data cannot be an asset unless until what it produces keeps giving you the value, which will never come down. And then keeping the data should not cost you more, right? The cloud guys are keep inviting people, come to us, bring all the data to us. All you need is data, bring to us. So you keep on dumping the data into cloud, and are they going to keep it for free? No, they're going to send a bill at the end of the month to not just to keep the data, but to access the data. There is a fee to it. And then there's a network fee, there's a usage fee. Then if you're using one of their application to access the data, then they add more fee to it. So that data, your data became their asset. Your data became their asset. Probably that's why they are calling it as the data as an asset, right? But it's your data. You're taking the data and giving it to them to just keep charging you money. So from their balance sheet, it is an asset, but not your, right? So the naked data has no value. It has to be dressed up. It has to have value. That's what we are focusing on. The intelligence and it should be based on the outcome in the form of intelligence, values, and the services that it can produce. So that's where the actual value of your data comes to. So Karma Capsule's job is to not just collect the data, but it should encapsulate the data and with the state and the piece of code intelligence. For the simple understanding, I'm just mentioning the word code because it's easy to understand. Yes, there is a piece of code running. If I say intelligence, you may not understand. So piece of code that is kind of a encapsulated into it and create a capsule. So the pieces of the more capsules you capture and keep creating and making it as a part of the network, the network is called Karma Capsule Network, and each node or each piece of the each capsule is called Karma Capsule. Okay. Then in order to get into the understanding of the intelligence part of it, artificial intelligence part of it, right? I have to quickly take everybody back to 2000 years in terms, and then I'll promise I'll quickly bring you back. the reason we have to travel, right? Anybody want to say something?
So, sorry to interrupt. Please kindly share the screen so that we will be able to
Okay, I'll share the screen too.
understand more better, visualize it.
Sure. Okay, so I'm just sharing the white paper only, right? So capsule, karma capsule as a value vehicle. Okay, so the point I'm making is, since the time of existence, human always longing for acquiring wealth, right? And a thing can be a physical, the thing, or there is a reason we call the word of Internet of Things. If it is Internet of junks, we won't even be bothering to worry about interneting junk items, right? We only do you internet garbages and call it as Internet of Things? You would not, right? Would you internet scrap metals? Would you internet the dump yard items? You only internet, when you say things, Internet of Things, you really implying the thing is an asset, correct? That's one. Then only it makes sense for you to internet them. So basically, the asset is what people, the society, always longing for. Now, how you perceive a value of an asset? This is where the basic thing, this is the question, you should come to your mind quickly when you talk about an asset. It's a perceived value. You perceive the value of something. You are presented with the gold and you are presented with the copper metal, right? How do you choose gold versus copper? Why do you choose that?
The value,
Because of what?
by
Its
the
value.
value it provides.
Yeah, by the value it provides, and now you are sensing that value, you are perceiving that value, right? Then you are making a decision and going behind that, right? So basically, not everything is an asset, but every asset is derived as a perceived value from one or more things. Basically, you take gold or silver or anything, you just making a derivation out of some perceived value, and then making it in a sense of an asset, right? Basically, it may sound like a thing, having a real ideal state. So that thing, the gold, has an ideal thing. It exists, right? You are believed to think that gold asset as a state exists. Now, but in reality, what Aristotle says, nominalism states that there is nothing called gold's value. Somebody at some point of time in life took that gold and then said, this is a precious metal. Somebody named it. Just think for a while, right? Who told you gold is an asset? Who told you gold is a precious metal? Somebody told you. Somebody was feeding you, right? The information. So there's nothing called gold as an asset, as an ideal state, right? So Aristotle started with saying somebody named it that way. If thousands of years back, instead of gold, they started calling copper as an asset. I'm saying, it's, they both pretty much could be, have to be taken from the earth, right? Instead of naming gold as a big value asset, if somebody named copper as a big asset, it still would have been the asset, better asset than gold, correct? So that's what the basic argument of Aristotle nominalism. Basically, things are that way because we name them. Very simple. Things are in that state or in that value because we name them that way. So that's not about ideology. There is nothing called ideal state. It's all about outside, and we name things over and over again. To give a perspective, those who are aspiring in terms of natural language processing, why NLP is gaining momentum a lot, and people talk a lot about natural language processing and all, and as a part of the machine language. Because of this reason, so most of the communications through the verbal and the text and the images, right, which actually adds more value to the intelligence, and over a period of time that can influence something's state, right? So look at an individual thing, observe them with the relation to each other, right? So our job is to take something and then observe its relation to one other aspects of it, around it, right? Then so then start classifying it over, with all these parameters, right? That's how you kind of recognize a thing, and then start qualifying a thing, that it belongs to this, it belongs to that, right? So if you see, there's an ontology of thing is basically, if you take something, if many men, right, basically many men coming together, right? So one group of people with idea one, right? And then they're naming something, and then other people with another bunch of idea coming with the other name, then that gets transferred to many men, right? With answers through idea one through many men, right? That's called univocal, right? Univocal means connected with general ideas, but answer to many according to the sound and idea of the relationship between them. So basically, apply one word to two different objects, but you mean basically the same thing with respect to the same object, right? That's predominantly, you call it as a kind of a sound of the idea itself. So you say something and then applicable to many men, and idea two, you just communicate to many different men. So what we call the same thing in certain word, right, can be propagated that way in the univocal. What is equivocal? Equivocal is essentially one idea, a couple of men coming with one idea, and then a couple of men coming with the different idea, basically the connector two, and then you just don't combine them. You only, you see that blue and green, there won't be any combined one. It just this idea by green man will appeal to green type of man. The idea green, the blue idea would appeal only to blue man, right? This is called equivocal, basically connected with different ideas but answer to many according to the same idea, and the relationship between them. Meaning of the word changes radically. Now, what it has to do with it? I know it's vague, but then it just is a foundation for putting an idea of understanding a thing. Thing is the foundation for the asset, right? Why? Because in the artificial intelligence, when we talk about creating robots and other things, we somehow we we kind of take into basically, we take many things in as from its face value. Now we think we can do everything with the data and we can produce intelligence out of it. Unless until you define the intelligence or put a strong foundation on how the intelligence can be developed, right? Many artificial intelligence projects fail, or EN projects fail, because people try to get an intelligence out of random voices, out of random text, right? Then what happens is you are limited with you are making very vague conclusions, making biased decisions. So it's very dangerous. So you got to slowly, build your intelligence based on the basic understanding of the data itself, basically the assets around which you are playing, the thing that you are playing. The thing could be, if you are dealing with the robots, a thing could be robot, or the data that the set of items that the robot is going to produce, or it thing could be in the capital market. A thing could be a mortgage. A thing could be a loan, right? A loan itself could be a thing. Now, the loan as a thing came from various backgrounds of data coming together. A loan has many qualifiers, right? So it has many characteristics. It's not just the data of the loan, who's a borrower and who is a lender. There are many other aspects of it, the time of borrowing and many other aspects of the loan plays together. So it's so important to basically capture the whole of the loan from the perspective of basically a tensor of values of the loan, in order to really define loan as a thing and make a life cycle of track and trace the life cycle of a loan. Okay. Okay, so there are two types we can three types we can define a thing. One, a transient, basically the changing state. The other one is the developed state, basically fully developed thing, fully developed object. The second state is the transient, changing, currently changing state. Then the third one is nothingness. So basically it does not have a form or a matter, right? In the transient state, basically it has an actuality, a percentage of actuality, basically the d of x, derivative of x, d of x. And then the matter, form and matter, this is the thing consists of form and the matter, right? The shape, the form, what it is going to be created into. And then the matter is the composition of all the elements that would make that the form, right? That's a potentiality. We call it as a potentiality, actuality and potentiality. So this has a potential to become. You take a stock, and then you say that this stock has a potential to become Apple stock, right? Then you are talking about the transient change. It has a form, the current actuality. Maybe it is a small company's stock actuality, but then you are also presenting the potentiality of it. To how you find the potentiality? Potentiality, again, you got to know the d of y. That means you need to plot the whole lot of graphs, the change across, right, in order to really find the d of y. So the state goes from the conceived, the judge, then you put the reasoning, and then you create, conceive, judge, and this is the cycle for the state. In the developed one, you have the form, the actuality, basically the percentage of x. It's fully developed. This is x is the value, and then dynamis, right? Basically the potentiality of it, which has reached its potential. So in the actuality, it has been captured in three different ways. The value can be measured by the intelligence, the perfection, and realization, that by which you can actually find whether it is fully, it's an actual state, fully developed state. The matters wise, the potentiality, again, you measure them with the dynamic dynamicity of that, and then the imperfection of the thing, and then incompleteness, and then perfectibility. These are the factors by which you can actually identify the potentiality of it. Okay, so essentially you have to continuously keep tracking a thing in so it's a continuum, right? Rate of state of change of something, it's always changing. What when we call it as data, sorry, the asset, you know, it keeps going through the process, and it's part of the continuum. How are we going to capture that? That's the challenge, which we believe we have the answer through Karma Capsule. Okay, I'm going to skip all these things, and then these are all you would be able to understand. The basic chakra principle, I have presented it here for a reason. You might have, most of you would have got the you know about this, the why it is presented here for a reason, to make a connectivity of how you basically create a cosmic environment by which you can, you know, track something which is of continuous, development. But I'm not going to be visiting and giving a lecture on this. You can easily read by yourself. Then let's just get into the most important thing, the foundation of CAPSNet. Okay.
Oh my God.
The CAPSNet, you guys, can you mute yourself? Thank you. So CAPSNet. CAPSNet is the foundation, which is a kind of a convolutional network, right? So it is done. It is published by scientists. So it's currently in the lab format, but being adopted more and more, and many new generation researches are done on CAPSNet. So CAPSNet is a type of a convolutional network, and that's what we are going to put as a foundation for Karma Capsule Network. When we come back, we are going to get disconnected again. When we come back, we are going to briefly see what is CAPSNet and then move forward.